and you placed everything, all your work, into his hands, under his feet. You have given him dominion over all you have made. Verse 6, you made him to have dominion over all your work, all your hands, everything you've done by your hands you've given him, and you put everything under his feet. Now, when I think of these scriptures, I have to look back into this man. And when I study the scriptures, I learn that the man God created prior to the fall was a man of dominion. Follow me. He was a man of great intelligence, faithfulness, dependability. He was a man that God could depend on, trust in. This was the man of his image. This man was like God in the flesh. This man was so powerful, had such dominion over all the works of God's hands. When you saw this man, you saw his God. And he was the image of God and the likeness of God. He was the man of God's image. Y'all with me? And so when I look into history and I look into our streets, I don't see this man. What I see is a beggarly man. I see a wounded man. I see a hurting man. I see a needy man. I see a man that is confused. I see a man that is hoping one of these days something will happen that will deliver him. Someone will come and save him. I see a man that is desperate. I see a man that is enslaved to making a living and surviving. I see a man that waits to die so they can go to heaven, if they can. So I see a man that is basically a thinking animal, roaming in circles, hoping for the end, having no clue what he's here for or what's going to happen to him next. And then I see another man. He's a man that goes to church. He's a nice man. He's a good man. He loves God. This man prays and goes to church and tithes and gives and believes and hopes. And this man has a anticipation for one day a great future. But when you follow this man home, yes, he has a better life than the other man, but predominantly he is still needy. He is still desperate. He prays and prays and prays to God, who doesn't seem to be answering. And this man goes to church to plead, to pray, to believe, to hope. But predominantly his life just simply moves on, and he gets old, and his hope is when he dies, if he dies, or when the Lord comes, at least he'll be with the Lord. It's a little bit better. But the man that God made, this man that God created, is neither a beggar or a believer. He's higher than that. The man that God made is the man of his image. This man is like God. He has dominion. He rules over all that God made. God gave him the whole earth. And God said, it all belongs to you. Everything will serve you. Now that man fell. He got haughty, arrogant, egotistical, disobedient. He thought he was some hot stuff, and he fell. He disobeyed God. Generations passed. Wars, generation after generation. People live, people die. And one prophet after another, and they're killed. And the prophets come, and they're killed. And the disciples come, and they're killed. And finally God says, I'm going to end the cycle. I'm going to stop sending a man or these people because no one actually is believing. So I'm going to do this for myself. So God himself comes. And his seed a baby. He's born out of a woman. He's under the law. He's tried like every other baby. He's tested. He's a frail human. He's tested and tried with every kind of temptation. But he says, I'm going to show man how to be a man. I'm going to show man what I originally intended for him to be. I'm going to be the first prototype. I'm going to be the firstborn of this kind of man that I've always had in mind, who is my image and my likeness. And in him, I'm going to place my kingdom, I'm going to place my mind, and I'm going to give him dominion over all my earth. Well done. Paul comes along, and he says in 1 Corinthians 15, go there. 1 Corinthians 15. Paul describes, I'm going to try to hurry now. Anybody hearing anything so far? Yes. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15 that there are two men, two different kinds of men. Let's begin reading verse 45. It says, and so it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul, and the last Adam was made a quickening spirit. You all see that? Yes. Verse 47. The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. Verse 48. Can you read 48 with me, please, and 49? Are you ready?
Yes.
As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. As is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have, past tense, borne the image of the earthy, we shall also, the word shall is not there, we also bear the image of the heavenly. Say that. We also bear, come on, we give it. We also, say that. We what? Also bear the image of the heavenly. You all see that? So Paul here describes that there are two men. One is of the first Adam, and one is of the last Adam. Now, how many Adams did you just hear? How many? Two. Just two. So you have a body of people that are of the first Adam, and you have a body of people that are of, come on, the last. Say last. Last. Now, when you hear the words last Adam, what does that say? Say last. Last. Come on, one more time. Last. When you hear the word last, okay, how many of you know the alphabets? A, B, C, D, F, G, go all the way to Z, and what comes after Z?
Nothing.
There's no more letters, right? There's no A. You don't start again. It's done. Jesus is the beginning, the Alpha, he's the A, and he's the Omega, he's the Z. There's no more after the Z. Say no more. No more. So, if there's two men, and he's the second man from heaven, and there's no more, you either identify with one or the other. There is no middleman.
Yes.
There's no 1.5 man.
No.
It's either the first or the last.